Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Ash and Rima from Mass Effect Odyssey, and today, as promised at the beginning of yesterday's video, we are going to be discussing the gameplay leak that happened, I believe, early yesterday morning for us. Now, for anyone who's looking to see screenshots or the video itself, we will not be showing that out of respect for BioWare and the hard work they're doing at the moment. And we won't be posting any links to the video or screenshots or anything like that. If you want to go see the trailer and haven't seen it yet, you can source that yourself. There are plenty of places out there that are posting the video and screenshots and GIFs and everything like that. So what we're going to do first of all is we've watched the Rima's only seen the trailer today, the video today, and I saw it a few times yesterday and a few times today. We've kind of devised a list of points, a few of which I've got, and the rest which Rima's noted down, and she'll go through them. So I'll say my few first, Rima will then go through her few, and then we'll have a very brief discussion at the end about basically what we think about it, and then end it there, and then hand it over to you guys to see what you think. So I'll start with what I picked up first. So the few points I had was there was a person that's choking on the gas. They have a mark on their face. This is possibly a symbol or a brand or something. And they're also holding a CARNIFAX pistol. There's also definitely two Krogans, and all the people involved in the above shot of the group of people there seem to be trying to surround the male with the mark on his face and holding the CARNIFAX pistol. Possibly an antagonist, and maybe not the main one, but possibly like one of maybe a few or a group of. And in the bird's eye shot, there's possibly our team, which is there is a blonde female human, a Krogan, which is possibly Drac from the previous, like the very first Reddit leak, and there's another human in the middle, which seems to be a male human. The video is not great quality, but it seems to be a male human, and that's possibly our protagonist, so our main character that we're going to be playing. I'm going to switch over to Rima for her list. So Rima.
Right, okay, so you kind of start off the first part of this leak with a location. We can't really speculate to where it is or anything like that because we have no correlation, but we were thinking it's maybe a mining facility of some sort. It seems to be on a moon orbiting either another moon or another planet, because obviously the landscape shot shows like this very large planetary object in the sky. There seems to be is it fire plumes coming out? There's kind of like barrels and equipment that kind of seem like there's like a mining facility going on. It also seems quite similar to the concept art we saw in the first. Is it not last N7 day, the N7 day before that? Is that right?
Possibly. Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it's the one where you get to see there's a shot where you see like this bridge like next to a waterfall, and the architecture of the bridge kind of looks similar to the architecture in this video here. There's also seems to be what I thought was a ship. You thought it was a gun of some type, like a heavy weapon. We don't know. To me, it looks like a ship with thrusters. It's kind of like docked, and then they seem to come out from the door at the bottom, and there seems to be this unidentified Krogan, and there seems to be three that seem to be like your crew possibly. It seems to be Drac, possibly Cora the blonde, and then this unidentified male human. And then then they encounter this guy in the black. He has this tattoo on his face that we still can't make out what it is. It seems to be circular with maybe some points on it. Possible thoughts is there's maybe some kind of like shadow organization. Another thought we thought was maybe it's the remnants, maybe that's a symbol for them, and maybe he's like an agent for them or something like that. But what we did notice in this is the armor is very, very, it looks great for the build at the time. It looks amazing. The design itself has that kind of like frostbite engine look. You can see the metal is very much shiny-ish, kind of like how the Dragon Age Frostbite engine kind of showed us in the game. There's also the armor itself for all of them, apart from the Krogan, of course. They're all quite tight-fitting. It's almost like exoskeleton rather than actually like proper strap-on armor that you used to see in Mass Effect. Which I guess, I don't know, if they're going to be jumping around and things like that, they might need more like maneuverable armor. Then there's also weather effects. There's a lot of weather effects in the scene. There's a lot of rain. There's lightning. The rain also, you can see it like water droplets on the armor, which is really, really nice, and the water effects on the face. And there's also the fact that this Krogan is carrying this grenade. It's on the it states it's like pollen plumes is what they call that scene. we've never seen anything like this grenade before. It almost seems like a gourd. Do you know when I say a gourd, like that, kind of like a squash?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like almost like a vegetable, but it's like, obviously you can tell it's metallic in some form, and it seems to release plumes of pollen, I guess, some kind of smoke, and there seems to be like a draft that kind of pushes it towards this guy in black, and he starts choking on it. But the interesting part is the Krogan seems completely unaffected. I know it's probably pushing the smoke towards the other guy, but the Krogan seems unaffected, and so do your crew, because of backstream to it. So it's interesting to see what this kind of new weapon is, maybe if it's some kind of new technology, whether it's kind of central to the storyline. And we also have to note that obviously there is, in that scene, there is, as you said, the 3 characters that we possibly think will be part of our team, our possible protagonist, the Krogan that we think may be Drac, and then there is the female wearing like a lighter armor. She's got blonde hair. We think it's either a ponytail or a braid, we can't really tell. But yeah, she's possibly Cora. We think her name's Cora, I think, from the original Reddit leak. So there's that. Mm-hmm. And then we move on to probably one of the best parts. The cutscene's amazing, but one of the best parts, and probably the one with the most information, is in the jetpack scene.
Yes.
Because the jetpack scene has tons of information. First of all, there's like this UI HUD that looks very similar to the Mako. We saw the Mako picture that we analysed quite a while back from N70.
Yeah.
The HUD looks very similar to that. You see the health bar, you see kind of shield bar, you see the power weapons, and you see the weapon, ammo, all that kind of stuff. But you've also got like the compass kind of like tracker at the top, very, very similar to Dragon Age, where it's got like, shows you where your objective is, but also shows where the Mako is as well. So you know that that's obviously going to be a scene where like you'll jump out the Mako and you can wander around. You made a point that obviously this landscape is not finished. There is mountains just floating, and it seems to be unfinished lands. Everything's a bit fuzzy, so it's definitely not a finished scene. And obviously he's got a jetpack, so he's jumping around. It's interesting. I'm surprised though it's just the one, like...
It's like a little tiny thing in the middle of your
like
back. Yeah.
But it seems very much integrated into the system. There's not like, I thought there'd be like something on
like
the
a
back.
separate thing.
The armor is very much like an exoskeleton. You see a spine. And it seems very maneuverable. The only parts of it that you think are very armor-like are like the shoulder plates. The rest of it's all very smooth. Obviously you don't see the front. You can't really see the front to see what it looks like, but it looks on the back. It looks like there's not any like bulky armor that you used to see in Mass Effect. Which is, I guess, different. I guess it shows like the technology being advanced. He does double jumps as well. He does a jump and then he jumps again. So clearly he jumps to the door and then he tries to jump again. So it means that it almost shows that the world is going to not be like linear, as a way that you can go over objects or go through them. Because there's a door on that scene, but he jumps over it. We also noted that there's obviously, you pointed out that this is on the Xbox build, which is quite common.
Yeah, there was the control buttons at the bottom where it's like right bumper, left bumper, and there's a Y button as well. But obviously, there's obviously dev kits, which are all like basically have Xbox controllers. So it should be a dev controller.
And there seems to be abilities for the jetpack as well. It seems to be like a boost button, and it also seems like, we call it ground pound because that's probably the closest correlation that we can get. But like a downward push with the jetpack as well. But the most interesting part of this screen is on the bottom hand right hand corner. There seems to be like a little frostbite, and there seems to be like a half semicircle like scale. And when you play it, it's flashing, and it seems to be separate in quadrants, and it's on the bottommost quadrants filled, and it's flashing. And as you watch this like very short part of the video, it seems to slowly go down, which does suggest that there's going to be an environmental factor. It's not just going to be that you're allowed to run around aimlessly. Like, you're just not going to be running around aimlessly in this cold environment. It seems to be that there's going to be a hazard to your health, possibly, like a survival element. And we theorize maybe that possibly that could mean that the armor upgrades will be so important to you kind of wandering around. It also makes me think that maybe it's not just going to be cold and hot. Maybe there'll be things like radiation as well. Yeah. Which is interesting. It kind of gives you a point of view that how you traverse this environment is going to be really dependent on how you're equipped. So if you're equipped like the max, you may be able to wander through it quite happily, nothing's going to bother you. But if you're basically not that leveled up, maybe planets will be level locked for you because you can't go on them because your equipment is just not good enough to go on them. Instead of enemies being the threat, maybe the landscape. Yeah, maybe the landscape's the threat to you. So it encourages you maybe to mod. And this is me just thinking, the top of my head, but it's really interesting that I never expected them to have an environmental element, and that definitely looked at it like he's running from the cold in that scene. And the last thing I note from the scene is the guy, you see him, he's wearing like black or grey armor, but there's hints, and the quality of the video is not great, but there's hints of red underneath the main part of the armor, so it maybe it is the guy from the N7 trailer, maybe it's just similar armor, but there's very much the red and black thing going on there.
Yeah, definitely seems to match what the main person in the original trailer is wearing. And
last thing is they show a few explosion scenes of them showing how different explosions look in different lighting. There is the small scale explosion of like explosive barrel, so we know that's going to be in the game, but that was kind of already in Mass Effect anyway. But there's actually, they show impact explosions from a meteoroid hitting the moon, so it makes you think there's going to be quite large scale explosions, because that's quite a big thing to kind of show off, and it looks good from what we've seen. But that's pretty much it for a 2014 build. It's very, very promising.
Yeah. I mean, what we said was, and I texted to you yesterday when I was texting you about it, but it's like if that was, and it seems to be confirmed as like late 2014, that this kind of like almost a demo reel, as it were, was kind of done for, it looks like a presentation. I was saying, like, if that's how good it looked, and a lot of it looks very good, if that's how good it looked back in late 2014, we're now in early 2016, and I can only imagine how good that game looks right now, in terms of like a year and a half later.
It's definitely got a very heavy Mass Effect 1 feel to it. The HUD and stuff, it looks like it's definitely been pulled back to Mass Effect 1, but it's interesting though, because the facial animations and the kind of models are really good for like that stage of build. So they must have spent like a hell of a lot of time just building
That's
that.
one thing as well, that we noticed that the facial expressions on the human guy looked really good, like a lot more realistic. And I was saying to Rima earlier that I don't have an issue with the facial expressions on that in the original trilogy, but they seem to be a lot more like lifelike in this particular video. So it's really impressive. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much what we picked up. So it's
exciting to see it. I feel we have to point out that we kind of feel very bad for BioWare for this getting leaked. Though this is it's a shame because we don't know what their initial plan is. But fortunately, it doesn't look like it reveals too much from the plot. It doesn't really show very much spoiler stuff, and if it does, it's completely out of context. I can't guess. And
nobody would be able to tell us to what would mean what in any kind of context.
If it does anything, it kind of hypes you up for the fact that people were really worried that this game was not going to get finished, or they're worried that the game's in, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's in development hell, it's getting pushed back, there are people leaving. But you look at this and you're like, well, there's a lot of groundwork already there. It's not like anywhere near not completion. It just makes you think that what they must be doing for this last stage of the game is very much either getting their marketing plan up to gear. The game might be basically already finished. They're just planning their marketing scheme, or they're just doing the very, very final polishes of it, which is really interesting to see that you've already got this groundwork there. How much are they building on it already? I'm now super hyped to play this now.
Yeah,
more than I was. No, we were already out hitting the ceiling at that point.
Yeah, I think the general consensus that I've seen in the comments since yesterday has been that everyone seems like genuinely impressed, like despite the fact this is almost like 18 months ago, and how good the game probably is now, and yeah, it's just been like like my hype levels are like super maxed out now, so it's just like, okay, I want to play this now. So yeah, it does
make me think that EA Place is going to show us a gameplay trailer though, because they clearly have stuff done to do a gameplay trailer, enough to do it. So I think possibly I don't think you'll get a story trailer. I think you might get a gameplay trailer or some stuff. Which would be nice, because I'd like to see it in motion and properly edited and shiny in HD.
So, what do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments below. Would love to definitely know what you guys think on this one. So yeah, just leave your comments down there and give us your ideas, thoughts and theories. But that's pretty much it from us for the moment on this particular subject. So as always, you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. Again, thank you very much for listening and for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.